Good evening. My name is Davion Fleming. I'm the Director of Admissions. Welcome to our flexible tuition workshop. We're really excited to have this night for you all and share the different ways in which we successfully, I think, helped make Lick accessible for everyone, regardless of what their financial and economic backgrounds are. Tonight we'll also offer interpretation for families that would rather listen to the event in Spanish. And so at the bottom of your screen, there is a globe. And if you click on that and then click on Spanish, you'll be able to listen in Spanish. And so I'm going to attempt to say that in Spanish. And so forgive me in advance for for maybe pronouncing anything poorly. Tenemos interpretación al español disponible. Haga clic en el icono de globo en la parte inferior de su pantalla y elija Spanish or español. All right. And so I'm going to share my screen now, and we'll get rocking and rolling. All right. And so here is our agenda for tonight. So we'll introduce ourselves, the other presenters. We'll walk through the flexible tuition application, how to apply, go over dates to know, and then some quick tips on how to complete the application. And then we'll end the night with FAQs and some Q&As, and we'll do our best to try to get to many different types of questions that you might have. So these are our presenters, and this is also our flexible tuition team. Again, my name is Davion Fleming. I'm the Director of Admissions. On the presentation slide here, you'll also see Elizabeth Tackett, who's a part of the admissions team. She's unable to be here tonight, taking care of family. But I'll actually pass it over to Jeanette to introduce herself really quickly.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. At the dinner hour here on your Wednesday evening. I am Jeanette Moore. I am the CFOO here at Lick. I have been at the school for about 5 years. And I worked at 2 other schools prior to this. So I've been working in the world of flexible tuition for about 15 years now. I'm very passionate about flexible tuition. I love that I work at a school that has, I believe, one of the most robust flexible tuition programs in the city. And to me, it is near and dear to my heart. I actually went to a high school in Virginia many years ago, thanks to flexible tuition, and it is a school that opened up a lot of doors for me, and I'm currently sitting on the board of that school as I give back to it because it gave so much to me. So this is something I really love working on and love getting to work with our families as part of the process. With that, I'm going to pass it over to the person I work most closely with on this, and that would be Emily Fung.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily, and I'm the Financial Aid Officer here at Lick-Wilmerding. I work closely with Jeanette in determining the flexible tuition decisions, and I'm also the primary contact for our returning families, should they have any questions regarding the flex tuition application process. And now I'll pass it back over to Davion.
Amazing. Okay. So now we're going to walk through everything, and again, at the end, if you have questions, we'll do our best to get to those. So I'll just actually pass things back over to Jeanette.
All right. I get the privilege of talking just basically a lot about numbers here. Really, it is my hope that you take away from this a couple of things. One, now that you've seen the faces and names with the attached to flexible tuition, that you see us as people you can reach out to, ask questions to, recognize that we are more than just calculators and computers here on the back end as we look at the Clarity applications to do the calculations. For us, the main things to take away is that flexible tuition is a separate application. So at this point in time, many of you have completed or almost completed your application for admissions. But the flexible tuition application is separate. It's in a separate portal, it has a separate login, it's a whole other different program. So be sure to complete the separate application. And at the end of this presentation, if you're not sure about whether you should complete or not complete, I would also just encourage you to apply. Really, our hope is with the new program that we've put forth this year with Clarity, that it's actually even easier for people to complete the application process. So please, when in doubt, please apply. As I stated at the beginning, we have one of the most robust programs in the city of San Francisco. Our budget this year is about $7.1 million, and it will actually be approaching close to $8 million for the 2024-2025 school year. The average tuition paid by families in our flexible tuition program is about $18,500. Keep in mind that's an average. It's an incredibly wide range, as you'll see on the next pages. But about a quarter of our operating budget goes to our flexible tuition program. It is our second highest line item in the budget, second to the obvious, which would be salaries and benefits. And a little over a third of our students are in the flexible tuition program. And an interesting fact about the average median annual income of families in the flexible tuition program is about $220,000, but you'll also see that ranges as well. I think that's it for this page, Davion, if you want to go forward to the next. The purpose of this slide is really just to show a wide range of household incomes. So about a quarter of the families in the flexible tuition program have an income of $125,000 or less. But on the other end, 30% have incomes over $300,000, and then it's pretty evenly distributed in between. So as you'll see, the average flexible tuition award increases as income increases, no surprise there. So in the income range of 0 to 125,000, the average tuition paid by a family is approaching $6,000, but at the higher end, the average is about $32,000. But it is a wide range of incomes to provide affordability and accessibility into Lick-Wilmerding. And this slide just shows the percentage of tuition at the different tuition ranges. So about 15% are at 5,000 or less. Another quarter almost is between 5,000 and 10,000. And then at the upper end of the range, we have some families that apply and they receive awards of, anywhere from 10 to 17,000 or so, and with it, so they pay tuition of 40,000 or more. I think I did that math slightly wrong, but you get the idea. So a wide range of tuition ranges as well for the families in the program. Really throughout this evening, as Emily goes through the application process and we answer some FAQs, the real purpose is just to demystify the application process and continue to encourage all of you to reach out with questions. So, approximately half of our applicants to the school do apply for flexible tuition. Thank you, Davion.
Great. So I'll take things over for the time being. So in terms of steps, so the first thing you need to do is to sign up for Clarity. The Clarity application is really user friendly, and you can even do it using your mobile device. I think everyone on the call went through it a couple of different times, and I think it took me about 30 minutes to do it. I did it on my phone once, I did it on my desktop once, and so really easy and fairly intuitive for you. And so we hope that you'll find the process to be as seamless as we all did. So it's important to note that it is one form per household. So this form would cover all in the household applying to a school that uses Clarity. And so any other school that you may be applying to that uses Clarity, you'll just have to do this form once. But for separate households, you'll have to complete separate Clarity applications. And so your child's application would be considered incomplete without all of the supporting documents from both households. For the application, there are 4 main sections to fill out. They are people, background, verification, and financials. And then after that, you'll be able to review and submit your application. Clarity uses the same methodology to calculate a suggested family contribution for each applicant. And this methodology is based off of income, the number of dependents that are in your household, assets, debts, parent or guardian age, and how many dependents in your household are going to other tuition paying schools. Do note that many schools in the Bay Area have switched to Clarity, but some still use school and student services, or SSS. And so if you do find yourself in that predicament where some schools are using Clarity and maybe some other schools you're applying to are using SSS, you'll have to do 2 different financial aid or flexible tuition applications for those schools. One final thing to note on this page is that we also require 2 years of supporting documentation. And so that's going to be W-2s and tax returns. So for completing the application, you'll have to create a username and password or log into an existing account. There's no code that's needed to complete the application for us. In order to complete the Clarity application, you want to try to, as best you can, gather information in advance. And the next slide, we'll do a brief overview of paperwork you'll need to gather. But make sure that you choose the 2024-25 academic year, since that's the year your child will be enrolling. And so that's a big thing. Sometimes folks will think about what is this school year, but we want to make sure that you're applying for the next school year. Do note that even though I was able to complete it in one sitting, you don't have to finish this all in one sitting. So you can take your time doing that. And for some families, it's going to be a little bit more detailed and can be really challenging to complete, especially when you're balancing work and making dinner for your children and drop-offs and pickups. So you can actually just save your progress as you go along and come back to it a little bit later. There is a fee associated with applying to Clarity of $60, and Clarity may actually waive the fee based off of your income. If you have questions about it, we do encourage you to reach out to them. If you're a family with more than 1 student applying, you only need to complete 1 Clarity application. Just be sure to include both students as applicants to Lick or any other school that you may be applying to. If you have questions while you go through the Clarity application, take a look at the Clarity application guide, which is available in both English and Spanish on our website. This is actually made by Clarity, and it's meant to make the process as smooth as possible. These documents are also available on other folks' website, but it's on our upboarding page, where you'll find it listed under useful links on the right-hand side. The entire application is also available in Spanish. If you log into Clarity on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, you can toggle to select your preferred language. Okay. So moving forward, the Clarity application requires you to sign and submit for 4506Cs, and each member of your household will need to complete their own form. And so this form gives Clarity permission to pull prior year tax returns. If your current address doesn't match your most recent 1040s, please indicate your address has changed in the last 2 years by checking yes. And the answer to the question, did you file taxes in 2022 at a different address? Required documents. So again, 2 years of tax returns, including all schedules for 2022 and 2023, and W-2s and or 1090s are required. Clarity will automatically transfer your 2022 tax documents from the IRS into the Clarity portal. But for you all, you'll actually need to upload your 2023 federal tax returns, including all schedules and or W-2s and 1099s onto Clarity. Other paperwork you might need, child support paperwork if applicable, mortgage statements, bank account statements, credit card statements, educational expenses, if you pay tuition for other children, and just other family expenses. So things to think about maybe medical expenses, extracurricular activities, and vacation expenses. All right, so here are some dates to know, and these are for new families. So any new families coming into Lick. So you'll want to complete your Clarity application by January 9th, 2024. That's the same date as your admissions application. By February 1, we'll want to have your 2023 W-2s uploaded into Clarity. By February 26th, submitting 2023 1040s and all schedules. And so this is going to mean that we're going to ask that you try to submit all of your tax documentation early so that you can have that available for us to use. On March 14th, admissions decisions, including your flexible tuition amount, should you qualify, will be sent to you in the mail. And then on the 15th, after 4 p.m., you'll be notified on Ravenna about your admissions decision and should you qualify your flexible tuition amount. And so if you are admitted to Lick at the same time, you'll receive your flexible tuition package should you qualify. And then finally, on March 21st, 2024, by noon, we request that your enrollment agreement be returned. And so you have a little bit less than a week to get back to us and let us know. And we really do urge you, if you know that you want to come to Lick, let us know as soon as possible. And if not, also please let us know as soon as possible so that we can try our best to utilize any funds that we have available for another qualifying family. But now I will turn things over to Emily.
Hi, everyone. We're on to quick tips. I know that completing the Clarity application can be really overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to come up with answers. I have a few quick tips that may help you as you go through the application process. The first quick tip is for the question about how much your family will contribute towards the tuition for the 24-25 school year. When answering this question, please be realistic about the amount your family will be able to contribute. I recommend creating a monthly budget of income and expenses to see how much your family can put towards tuition. This number should not include any additional contributions you may receive from other sources. There's a separate question that addresses funds you may receive from friends, families, and other sources. Our next quick tip: while completing your application, families may feel like the questions don't truly represent their current financial situation, or maybe there has been a change in circumstances, or you need additional explanations. Well, there is an area where additional information can be added at the end of the Clarity application. Feel free to use this space to tell us more about your family's situation, or if there's anything you feel we may need to know. We have here a few common questions about our flexible tuition process. Now, understand that having your 2023 federal tax return completed by February 26th can be a real challenge. So what happens if your family can't complete your taxes on time? The flexible committee won't be able to process the application without the family's current year and last year's tax returns with the corresponding W-2s. If you need an extension, please be sure to reach out to Elizabeth Tackett as soon as possible. Our next common question is, how does Lick handle multiple households? In this situation with multiple households, each household will be required to submit their own Clarity application and their tax documents. Our committee will calculate the total ability to pay using all household information, and it'll be up to each family to determine how the tuition should be split. If you have extenuating circumstances that need to be discussed further, please be sure to reach out to your admissions office. And on to our last common question. We know that applying to high schools and the flex tuition application process can be a lot, or maybe you're not sure if your family should apply or needs to apply. So, can families wait to apply for flexible tuition until they know their child has been accepted? No. Our flexible tuition and admissions application process runs parallel to each other, and once a deadline has passed, we cannot accept any late flexible tuition applications. All the funds will have been distributed once the admissions decisions have been sent out. And the next slide. Our program consists of many families in a wide range of income levels. There are many factors that are taken into consideration before the tuition is finalized. Each family's financial situation is unique, and we are ready to work with families who need assistance. Today, we have 2 examples, and it'll be a quick snapshot of the various situations we have here at Lick. Our first example is a family of 4 with 2 income earners, 2 children in tuition charging schools, and the family owns their primary home. Their total income was $220,000 and a net worth of $493,000. The net worth figure includes home equity, their investments, retirement accounts, and savings. The family's tuition responsibility was $8,900. As a reminder, Lick tuition does include lunch, books, course materials, and class retreats as well. For our next case study, we have a family of 3 with 2 income earners and 1 child in a tuition charging school. The family owns their home, and the income was $230,000 with a net worth of about $1.5 million. Again, the net worth includes home equity, their investments, retirement accounts, and savings. The family's tuition was set at $37,000. As you can see from these 2 examples, the number of children in the tuition charging schools will have a huge impact on the amount of tuition the family is responsible for.
Great, thank you. So as you'll see, here we have a number of different resources, but I would highly encourage everyone to go to the boarding page on our website to utilize these resources and to see any other kind of frequently asked questions that we may have. And as always, if you have questions and you just want to chat with someone, please reach out either to myself or to Elizabeth to answer your questions. But speaking of some frequently asked questions, here are a couple that we'll run through, and then after that we'll actually go to some Q&A. And so in the Q&A section of the Zoom, you should be able to ask any question that you have, and you can choose to ask those questions anonymously. And then we'll do our best to go through some of those before we end tonight. So our first question: does applying for flexible tuition decrease the chance of admissions to the school? The answer to that is no. Flexible tuition decisions are determined separately from admissions decisions. While the flexible tuition budget is generous, we are need aware, and so we have to keep our budget in mind and make sure that we come in right at that budget every year. The next question: is there an income cutoff on eligibility for flexible tuition? The answer to that is no. There's no cap on income eligibility. However, the average income for our flexible tuition families is about $261,000. And the final piece is, if a family does not apply or receive flexible tuition 1 year, can they apply the following year? The answer to that is yes. And so any family is welcome to reapply or apply to the flexible tuition program. However, the school is seldom able to accept families into the program after 9th grade. Only a significant change in income or family situation year over year would qualify if funds are available. And so I just want to really emphasize the importance of applying now if you are unsure or if you feel like your family really is in need, because we, as Jeanette talked about in the very beginning, we have a really generous program. We have a really great program, and on an annual basis, we tend to use all of the money in our budget. And so this actually happens every year. A family will come to us after decisions are released, and they'll ask, hey, like, can we apply for flexible tuition? And the answer is going to be no, because we've truly run out of funds and we don't have a lot of wiggle room, if any, to support your family at that time. So we highly encourage you to apply now, or by January 9th this year, so that we can start that process now. Again, here's our contact info. You can call us, you can email our general line, and of course you can email or call myself or Elizabeth, so that we can support you with anything that you may need.